good evening, good night, and welcome to another episode of the Red Bull Matchbox Race 2020. Today is another qualifying video, this time vehicles 21 through 30 from Group 1. Here is a look at the event course, a ridgeline road track full of twists and turns. A racer's time will begin when their vehicle passes the start line here, and the clock stops when their vehicle emerges from the tunnel in the final straight. Now, this course is not a simple race to the finish, go as fast as you can affair. It requires restraint and control. If a driver accelerates too quickly on the opening straight into the first corner, their vehicle will launch off the cliff drop into the berm, ricocheting down the second straight and losing speed, and more importantly, precious control. Here's our opening lineup. This being such a technical course, these 10 drivers will each have 6 chances to make it down the course once. Once a driver has succeeded, they will have unlimited chances to make it a second time, but the first success must come in the first 6 attempts. A vehicle that cannot make it down in 6 attempts will be marked with a DNF and will not move forward. Without further ado, here's our first driver. Looking at our vehicle lineup today, a lot of the vehicles were deemed to have issues by our race officials. This is the first, Ruth Bannister in the Jeepster. They managed to make it down in the second run. Let's take a look. A bit rocky going down the cliff drop, and quite slow through the rest, and they hardly make it out of the final tunnel. It took them until run 8 to make it down a second time. Once again, a little bit rocky, but this time they have more speed going through the final straight, and come away with an underwhelming 5:26. Our next driver is Bilal Rudd in an Opel Speedster. They also made it down the first time in run number 2. But they're looking a little bit faster than the Jeepster, but not particularly fast. The next time they made it down was run 4. This time looks a little bit better than the first. Oh, an awful crash out of the final tunnel. But despite that crash, they come away with a better run in their second attempt. Our third driver in the lineup today is Wilmer Brown in the Power Pistons. Quite a flashy looking vehicle this. They made it down in run number 3. Looking smooth and slow through the course so far, and I think smooth and slow is the name of the game. Let's take a look at run number 5. Once again, it looks good, it looks smooth, but it also looks slow, and yes, their best was a 5:07. Our next driver up is Lucy Hawkins in another Corvette. This one has a moderately concerning issue. Despite that, they managed to make it down in run number 3. And are looking relatively quick, a bit slower through the rest, but all in all not a bad result. And they made it down in consecutive tries. Quick round the first corner, and relatively speedy through the rest, and that will be their finishing time of 4:54. Not a bad time at all. Our next driver is Shreya Lambert in the Ferrari 250 GTO. This vehicle was also marked with having a moderately concerning issue. And unfortunately, Shreya was unable to complete the course, so we're taking a look at runs 1 and 6 of their attempts. This 6th effort ends bottom up. And we have our first DNF of the night. Our next driver is Samara Burke in the Renault Clio V6 Sport. This is the 3rd vehicle in a row with a moderately concerning issue. Unlike our previous driver, Samara was able to complete the course. Let's take a look. Certainly rocky through the course, but they get all the way down. Let's take a look at run 6. A bit slow around the first corner and over the cliff, but smooth through the rest of the course, but did not even have enough speed to exit the frame. But 5:25, their second run will be their qualifying standard. Our next driver is Adina Rivera in the purple Torque Twister. This is another new Hot Wheels, so it looks promising. Let's take a look at their third run. And yes, indeed, this is looking very quick indeed. They succeeded in consecutive runs, which is always a good sign. Let's take a look at run 4. Speedy again, perhaps not quite as fast through the second corner as the first run, and 4:25 will certainly break the top 10. Adina will be very happy with that. Our next driver is Tomaj Griffith in a T-Bird Stalker. Tomaj is the second of our drivers tonight who was unable to complete the course. Let's take a look at their run number 1 and 6. Very slow going of the cliff, and they go over themselves on the second corner. Run 6. Once again, too slow through the opening corner, drops down the cliff, and does not have the speed necessary to take them through the second corner and into the final straight. Tomaj is marked with a DNF. Our next driver is Gurveer Perry in a Mustang Cobra. Another vehicle tonight with a moderately concerning issue. Gurveer did not complete the course. Very slow through the opening corner, rocky through the rest, and we're familiar by now with where that ends up. Run 6. A bit faster through the opening corner and over the cliff, but goes a bit rocky into the second corner and is unable to finish. We have one more driver up tonight, Kieran Andrews in another Corvette. Kieran made it down in their second run. Does not look particularly quick except off the cliff drop. Oh, and they spin completely around and end up facing backwards. A consecutive finish in run number 3. This time looks a little bit slower, but more controlled, and they end almost facing the right way. And 4:54 in their second run will have to satisfy Kieran Andrews. And here's our current top 10 after 3 qualification sessions. Only 2 drivers from this third qualification have made it in. Adina Rivera in the Torque Twister moves all the way up to number 2, and Kieran Andrews, our last driver of the night, is currently sitting in provisional 10th among all the qualifiers. Thank you for joining us tonight, and as always, consider subscribing